A number line is a concrete way of representing numbers by using a line. So let's draw a line, and this line has several intervals of equal length separated by tick marks. So here we go. See the first tick mark, and I have another one, another one, another one. And of course, between tick marks, we have intervals of equal length. Of course, I do my best to make them equal. Here we go. Now, below the tick marks are numbers called coordinates. So typically, the first one is 0, and it represents the origin. That's the usual, because whole numbers start at 0, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So each one of those is an interval. So let's make sure you don't confuse tick mark and intervals. An interval is a portion of space, whereas a tick mark is a point in on the particular line. All right, here we go. That's an interval, but that's a tick mark here. That's another tick mark. Now, numbers get bigger as you go from left to right. And as I said before, the first tick mark is 0, and it's called the origin. Well, it's usually 0. Sometimes it can be any other number. Now, how do we use a number line? We can use it to locate point or object. For example, point P is located at coordinate 5. So we use a little parenthesis and you write 5. That means 5 units away from 0, which is the origin in that particular number line. So think of this coordinate as a milepost. Now, it's not difficult to build a line, all right? I just did it. But it doesn't have to start at 0. It can start anything you want. For example, here's one that starts at 100, okay? And instead of using increment of 1, you can use increment of 10 or 20 or anything you want. So let's draw increment of 20. So that'll be 120, 140, and again, intervals have the same length. 160, 180. All right, that's good enough. Number lines have several applications. One of particular importance is the measuring scale. For example, let's draw one. Okay, let's say that the scale starts at 120. And then you have the intervals. And let's say that this one is 160. We want to know what this arrow is pointing to. We'll assume this is, for example, a scale. All right? Well, it's very simple. The first thing you do is take the difference between 120 and 160, which is, of course, 40. Now you count the number of intervals. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we do is each interval is going to be, therefore, let's write this down, interval equal 40 divided by 5. So they're worth 8 units. So therefore this is 8, and this is 8, and this is 8. So therefore this arrow is pointing at distance or a measure of, let's see, 128, 136, 144. So this is 144. Sometimes you may have to create a number line ending with a big number. However, your sheet of paper is only 8.5 by 11. So let's say this is your sheet of paper. Let us say this is your sheet of paper. So roughly 8.5 by 11, which is 21 by 28 centimeters. Now inside you have your number line. Now you could use, for example, 1 unit to represent 1 inch. Sometimes you may have to create a number line ending with a big number, let's say 10,000 units of anything. However, your sheet of paper is only 8.5 by 11. Now, which is in centimeter, roughly 21 by 28 centimeters. You cannot use 1 inch or 2 centimeters, for example, to represent 1 unit. Otherwise, the number line would extend way beyond the sheet of paper. So you need to make an adjustment. You want those 10,000 units to be contained within the sheet, which is about roughly 8 inch. So for instance, if it starts here, you want this to be, let's say, 10,000. So this would be roughly 5,000 in the middle, all right? And this would be 0. So you have to make that adjustment. So then you can add additional number line, right? So this one will represent, I don't know, let's say 1,000 each. Here we go. The next video clip has a series of 4 exercises that illustrate what we just talked about. So let's start with exercise 1.